running up the score.
Jerry Napoleonello.
This team has been on the clock for 4 months now. Why are we taking this down to the 4-minute mark? You know, you have 10 minutes here. 10 minutes here, but you've had 4 months. The dude's got 1,021 text messages that he hasn't read yet. Did we not notice that?
Kevin Donlin.
Bryce Harper's a great player. He's very, very talented. Aside from last year, but I blame myself. I'm pretty sure I'm the reason for that with fantasy baseball.
That's disgusting.
Wow.
I can't believe that's real. I mean, again, I'm not. I shouldn't hate. I'm not going to be the kind of person that hates.
No,
He is doing enough hating for the both of us.
As a Cowboys fan, the expectations are so high, and it's just, you're dug into the ground by the end of the season.
You're basically like what the Patriots are, but like you try to do it, but you just don't.
No.
Yeah. At least the Jets, you know what I mean? They have excuses.
This is Running Up the Score, your one-stop spot for all things sports. Now here's your hosts, Jerry Napoleonello and Kevin Donlin.
Baseball is always talked about as a boring sport, which we grew up playing. We both love the game. Maybe not what's going on in the game right now, but we both love the game. And they're trying to change things up. And to be honest with you, when I first heard about the discussion of maybe changing the playoff system, I heard bits and pieces of it, and I just thought it was stupid. I was like, you get to pick who you want to play in the playoffs? That doesn't make sense. And we're going to add teams now? We're talking about how, boring the game is and trying to make it quicker, but now you're adding more teams, a.k.a. more games, a.k.a. a longer period of time for the playoffs. Then I will say, I was listening to the Michael Kay show, and they were talking about it. And they were kind of for it. They liked it. And then they started to give their reasoning for it. And I started to change my mind a little bit. Now, the one thing that we talk about the most, when it starts getting down to the end of the season, in any sport really, you're talking about your team. For us, the Yankees. Yankees, even say if they're a wild card team, who do you want to play? That's the main question. Who do you want to play? I want to play the Indians. Maybe I would love to play the Twins because we just beat up on the Twins all the time. That's the main question when it starts to get to that point where you're starting to get to the end of the season. Every game matters. Who are you going to play in the playoffs? This, that. Who are we better, matched up against? Well, now you actually can have that question. Now it's all right, well, the Yankees get to pick who they're going to play. And I think it makes for some good conversation, I would say. It's better for people like us, in the media. I should say it's amazing for us, people in the media. I think it brings that the fan that may be on the fence with baseball, and it kind of sucks them in. Now, what I feel like with this, and I know I'm dragging here, but what I want to say with this is I think most of this has to do with the TV contracts being up after next season. So it's going to be interesting to see, but they're trying to do a selection Sunday type thing where the teams get to pick. So like I said, they want to add up to 14 teams in the playoffs, which a lot of people say, for such a long season to have such a short playoff, it's kind of stupid. So now, you get that. And what do you think?
I don't like it. That's just me. I think and like you said, I'm one of those borderline baseball fans, and I'm not a fan of it at all. I think it's just dumb. Is probably the best way to describe it. I don't like the idea of picking your opponent. I think that, coming from the other team's perspective, I would take that as a kind of like a I don't know, like an insult.
Dig. Yeah,
like a dig or an insult. Same thing. It's
which
just,
is cool. I mean,
I understand, but I think it's I just don't think it's just not right. I don't know. I don't like the whole idea of it. There's no other league that you choose your opponent.
No.
In a playoff spot. You play who you play. That's it. That's how it works. That's how the seasons go. Every season beyond this, because then baseball's got this on their hands. It's, what if the New York Mets back in 2000 and whatever decided to go and play this team in the first? I don't like it. The whole idea of it, you mentioned it to me. I'm really not a fan of it. I don't like the bye weeks. I think the perfect reason as to, why there shouldn't be any bye weeks is because, like what we had seen, you don't want to like implement, extra time in between. I even thought last year in the playoffs, like a lot of these games, as they were switching over, it was just a lot of time in between games. And like, you're used to a system,
absolutely.
Like you said, you play a long season, you're just used to a routine. We all have routines. I mean, I'm guessing you have a routine every day when you go to work. I have a routine every time I go to work. There's a routine. Now, if someone were to come up to me and say, hey, now you got to start working at this time, and then, it's just, you're basically taking someone out of their routine, player or not, which, if you're trying to do your job the best way, you want to be in a nice routine to be able to consistently perform, which in, baseball's terms, it's almost an impossible feat to be, absolutely consistent. And it's a game that's, 300 average gets you a career. So, and also, suspicion as well. Yeah. So, but I think what baseball's doing here is just not smart. You're changing the game that's been great for years. The MLB has other issues that they're going to have to nip at, and I'm pretty sure that this issue of the playoffs shouldn't be one. I think whoever you are meant to play at the end of a season is who you're meant to play. There's really no other way. I don't want people picking and choosing and, if this team would have picked this team, I don't. The whole idea of it is just unappealing to me.
Yeah. So there's somebody else that kind of shares your opinion. Is Trevor Bauer, pitcher who used to play for he used to play for the Indians. Now I forget the team that he's with right now, but he sat down and basically, because first he sent out a tweet calling Rob Manfred a joke and this and that, and then he had this video that just came up like right before we went on the air. So I was kind of pumped about that because I was like, you know what? At first I was just going to talk about his tweet. Now I'm like, I actually got the guy's voice talking about it. And, here's Trevor Bauer on, the whole playoff system.
I'm really, really upset about this new ridiculous playoff policy that Rob Manfred has suggested or proposed or leaked. I don't even know how it got on the internet. I don't know why it would even get on the internet. It's that ridiculous. Like, just reading through it without even thinking about it for a second, they're just wrong. Like, who put this out without thinking of the fact that the best team in the league is going to get a 6-day layoff, a 7-day layoff, while we sort out this whole 3 games here and this wild card, and we're going to pick our opponent, and we're going to do this whole reality TV stuff. Meanwhile, the best team in baseball is sitting at home waiting for all this crap to transpire. God forbid someone's ace pitches 4 days before the end of the regular season and then has 10 days in between starts. And this isn't football where you can heal up, and that helps. Like, being on a routine is so important in baseball. We play for 6 months, and now you're going to say at the most critical time of the year that we're going to get 10 days off maybe, or the 6 days in between games, and who knows how the pitching rotation lines up and all this different stuff, and that's supposed to be a benefit? That's supposed to be the best team in baseball, gets this benefit. These are just some things that come off the top of my head. The first time I read through the proposal, I haven't even had time to think about this. I just read it like an hour ago, and I just am so beside myself with Rob Manfred and his ridiculous rule changes that he keeps proposing.
He's pretty upset.
Yeah, well, he's right about the whole routine thing. I mean, because like you said, man, I mean, like you're putting a pitcher through a rotation for 6 months, and then you're going to decide to go ahead and give him extra days off. Like you said, this isn't football. We're not trying to heal up here. Baseball isn't a contact sport.
No.
It's very, it's probably the
streaky.
It's streaky.
It's a very streaky
but it's a very
sport.
mental game.
Yeah.
You really need to have a clear head when you're playing this game, and part of being a clear head will be running yourself within a routine. And to give, like he said, there's no benefit there to giving them extra days. It's only going to put them out of whack. Not to mention there's going to be a whole circus going on, like we just talked about, with them picking teams.
Yeah.
I mean, this, and then you'll get media coverage beyond. You're right, media coverage will be unbelievable, be off the charts. Unbelievable. There'll be so much to write about. Oh, I can't believe the Yankees picked the Indians. They must think the Indians can't handle them. And the Indian tabloids would just go nuts.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just think it's just such an unnecessary add to the game. It's a game that really needs to get a spark, because right now it's probably more dull than ever before.
Yeah, and
it's losing fans. I mean, I played the game growing up. I played baseball. Not that bad at it. I played it for a long time, and the professional level of this game is almost becoming a laughingstock. Just for myself, this is my own perspective. Other people have other issues, with baseball, or some people just love the game no matter what.
Yeah,
it's understandable. We are who we are. It's but for me, the game is trying to go an extra level to try to get a spark back into it, which I can absolutely understand and absolutely respect, because it needs it. But this isn't the way to go about it. You don't go and, have teams picking teams on who's going to play who, and, we want these guys. You're adding a drama, like he said, a reality TV show it turns into, as opposed to a game. And remember, this is a game. This is a sport. You'll realize that half the average regular fan will tell you that they don't want the drama aspect of the game. And we've talked about it over and over with aspects within football and, different things that came up within these games that were basically just drama, and I'm not here to watch a drama series. I'm here to watch a game of football. You got, if you have drama within other aspects and certain opinions, hey man, there's 6 other days of the week to take care of that. Or there's actually even another, 12 hours in the day that you could take care of that. But I'm here to watch a game and have fun watching a game, and it's a great game. Yeah. Football, baseball, these are great games. They've been around for years for a reason. And yet we're trying to bring drama into it, and there's really just no reason for it, because there's just really no room for drama in these sports, because I'll tell you, the average fan will tell you that's not an aspect they're looking forward to.
Yeah. The thing I started to think about, and what started to really kind of change my mind on the whole aspect of, changing up the playoff system. Like we said, baseball is kind of, at a point in time where, people feel like it's a dull sport, as you said, and it's a boring sport, and this and that.
Trying to get a spark.
You don't, like, for the average fan, they're not gonna, they just don't want to sit around and, watch a boring sport.
I mean, let alone for me. We live in New York, and right now it's the middle of winter, and so the Islanders being on, and then football, and even more football with the XFL. It's logical. A lot of people don't. It's more people are going to go out during the summer months, as opposed to the winter months.
And baseball now, though, for us in New York, it's a lot different, because we're looking forward to the baseball season. There's some cities that don't look forward to the baseball season, therefore not watching baseball.
Yeah, but why do you think that is?
We always say
you look at
baseball
these,
is
you look
a very
at these salaries, and you look at the difference in the non-salary cap in MLB.
Like, I don't even think it's at that.
It's got to be that.
But this is where the playoff system may actually help, because you know what? Maybe it stops the tanking factor, where teams feel like they have a better shot now. Because now if this whole playoff system was implemented last year, you have teams like the Mets making the playoffs at 86 wins. Whereas they were under 500 at the All-Star break. So now you're looking at teams that feel as though they have a shot now. So when you look at the whole aspect of changing the playoff system, why is baseball the only sport that doesn't change?
Well,
I understand that, like, because I love the sport.
I'm not
baseball.
liking the picking of teams. The more teams you want to add to it, I don't think you'll see an objection.
I feel like if they
I talked about it for
yeah.
how long just now, and there wasn't a part of me that thought adding more teams to it would be the negative aspect of it. It's everything else that they were discussing. Where you're picking I don't like that. That whole aspect is horrible to me.
That is, kind of.
And these teams, the New York Mets, I'm sorry. I'm not. This isn't even trying to like hate on the New York Mets. Like, you have to remember, there are just teams out there that have an obnoxious amount of money that they're spending on their roster.
But you're also seeing.
You're trying to compete with this. And granted, every New York Met fan in the world wants to take on the New York Yankees, the big-time Yankees, with all the money that they have, and defeat them.
But they won't.
That's the problem, is that, this money spent, obviously is money spent right.
The Mets spend just as much money, but the thing is,
they
like,
don't.
But
That it's not as much at all.
They're up there, though.
I
they're
understand.
in the top 10.
Top 10, and then number 1 is a huge difference. That's the scary thing about the league.
But the thing
and
also
God,
is,
if you're
like,
number 25 on that list, you're done.
You're seeing more and more teams, though, keeping their star players. I mean, who would have thought that Mike Trout was going to sign with the Angels? Like, re-sign with the Angels. Back in the day, that would have never happened. That guy would have been, with
a Yankee. That's what you want to say. You could say it. You're allowed to say it.
Yeah, like that
he would have been a New York Yankee.
He probably would have, or a Red Sox, or a Dodger. That, like,
or the
big-time
3-team league that we have right now, and that's the problem that baseball has. And that's why teams in Oakland don't want to even watch.
The Astros would have never been able to do something like that. And now
come from last to first because of it. Don't get me started with that stuff.
Well, we're gonna get into that now, but it's interesting. We'll see.
Don't prematurely get me started on that.
We'll see. We'll see what happens when it comes to that. I think they're looking to implement this in the 2022 season.
For more Running Up the Score, go follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at RUTS Sports.